Greetings, YouTube. It is no secret, if you follow my channel, that I produce a lot of videos. On average, about 6 to 7 a day. So when I say this, I mean it. Rarely on my channel has there been a more serious subject matter for video than this one. The last time I can think of a video that I felt this serious about was when I was talking about how kids were going to be scammed by creeps and cons and thugs during the gifting event. And unfortunately, that still happened to some, but hopefully not as many as would have happened had I not attempted to warn the community that people would try to friend you, would give you the offer for a greater gifting crystal, for example, take your greater gifting crystal, unfriend you, block you, etc., and then ghost you. So today we are focused on a challenge that really affects my alliance as much as anyone else's, because I have several international alliance mates, including my alliance leader, who is from Australia, and that's why in part I'm choosing to focus this conversation on Australia. Though, make no mistake about it, this video is about any country whose currency is worse against the dollar than normal, though I say that to also say that the United Kingdom's currency is better against the dollar, and sometimes you all still get screwed as well. The idea for this came from the fact that whenever Kabam is asked on forums or in help tickets why things are so much more expensive for non-Americans in the game, Kabam quickly says, well, the Apple Store or Google Play Store sets the prices. We have nothing to do with it. End of conversation. And while I don't anticipate that this video will cause the true end of that conversation, it will pose some really unique, interesting points we didn't know about, or at least I didn't know about, before we started asking the questions to Apple directly of, is that true? You can see that a $5 daily special in American dollars is $8 in Australia. $7.99 to be exact. Of course, this gets precipitously worse when you talk about the higher valued unit store purchases. A Tony Stark's briefcase that would be $30 in America is $47 in Australia. Black Panther's treasure, which is $50, is $80 in Australia. And then the one we're going to focus on for this video, just to keep things consistent, it's $160 Australian currency for an Odin, which is, of course, 100 American dollars. And since I have been playing the game all the way back to 2015, that has always been the case in America. It's always been $100 for an Odin, $50 for Black Panther's treasure, $30 for Tony Stark's briefcase, and $10 for Star-Lord's loot bag. So, with that being said, we had an alliance mate that decided to go and ask directly. So, here is the following conversation between him and Apple. It is the app developers itself who decide and set the prices for third-party apps. This is what Apple is saying to us. So it's sort of like that Spider-Man meme where he's pointing at himself, where Kabam is blaming Apple and Apple is blaming Kabam. Pretty crazy, given that these are currency rates. It really shouldn't be that much of a deal. And I get that currency rates fluctuate. And so maybe once a week or certainly once a month, they must change. But if they get better, then you'd think that that should reflect in better pricing for those summoners living in those countries outside of the United States. But we're about to see that that is absolutely not the case, especially right now in Australia. So it's the app developers itself who decide and set the prices for third-party apps. So the developers say 100 United States dollars in America and 150 US in Australia for identical in-app purchases. Just want to make sure. So that is chat number 1. Let's move to chat number 2. Please note that while we here at iTunes Support unfortunately do not have direct access to in-app content, as it is stored on the developer servers, and we all know Kabam servers run about as well at times as hamster wheels, the developer is able to better assist you on why the prices are different for each country and region. And with regards to your next question, if you can access the US App Store, this is where it gets a little bit confusing to me because I had no idea. If you can access the US App Store, you can change your Apple ID to the country and region to the United States if you want to purchase anything from the US store that's not supported in your region. And then, of course, if that was the case, you might actually be saving a little bit of money because in Australia's case, it is costing you more, and we'll show why in a second, more to purchase an Odin, for example, than it is in Australia. And he once again asked, just to clarify, the developers set the individual country prices. It has nothing to do with App Store or currency conversion rates. And then he says what to do before you change your country or region. That's just kind of like a standard instruction. And we will go to message number 3. Because of the currency exchange rate, the U.S. currency exchange rate is lower than Australia. However, if you like, I can get you a call back from my senior advisor if you can help you better explain it. It's not exchange rate when converted to the same currency. It costs 20% more. Okay, I understand. However, I just handled tech support. He's like, sorry, man, it's not me. I'm just the Tony Stark of Apple in the sense that I just run tech. I can set you up with a senior advisor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what does this look like in practice? I really do think the most important message for the sake of this video comes on the first one when he says it's the app developers itself who decide and set the prices for third-party apps. Because where this comes into play for international consumers who purchase these in-app purchases is that it's 131.2 Australian dollars for 100 United States dollars. Meaning, if this really was going by conversion rates, it would be around 131 or 132 Australian dollars per Odin. Now, like I said, this can fluctuate, and you look here. It has been as low as 1.28 and now as high as 1.31. But that's within, what, $3-4? So I would say if I was Kabam and I was really doing an honest effort to get similar prices to my Australian customers, I would set it between 128 and 133 because that would certainly be understandable given how these prices fluctuate, but it wouldn't be so crazy. So the max I would charge, let's just say 135. Let's just say that 135 would be pretty, shall we say, selfish, but at the same time, not surprising. Well, we all know this is my account right now. And you can see that it is $99.99 for an All-Father Odin's Vault. And the same thing that at best you can justify is 135 Australian dollars goes for $160. That means at minimum, somebody is keeping an extra 25 Australian dollars per Odin purchase that has nothing to do with conversion rates or exchange rates. Now, who keeps that 25 bucks? Is it Apple? Is it Kabam? Do they split it right down the middle? We don't know. But what we do know is that Kabam's blaming Apple and Apple is blaming Kabam, and it is that Spider-Man meme I brought up just now. So I would continue, if you are somebody who is getting screwed over by these, to file help questions and force Kabam and Apple and Google Play to answer. Because somebody is getting ripped off, and it's every customer right now in Australia, for example. It's every customer that's purchasing these. You're getting about a 20% kickback to either Kabam, Apple, Google Play, or both, and that is really unfortunate because they should be, especially during a global pandemic, incentivized to not overcharge and price gouge the consumer, and yet it is the opposite of that. It is a straight markup of every unit store offer, particularly the highest end ones, the Black Panther's Treasure and the All-Father Odin's Vault that we just discussed. So, make no mistake about it. If you want to take one thing away from this video, it's that Apple is claiming that their hands are tied, just as Kabam is claiming their hands are tied. But somebody, no matter whose hands aren't tied or are tied, is keeping this kickback upcharge of 20 to 25%. Well, there you have it, YouTube. What do you think should be done? Who do you think is keeping the money? Comment below, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching and supporting my Marvel Casino of Champions YouTube channel.